Hello, knowledge seekers. In this episode of 20-Minute Books, we dive into Rogues by Patrick Radden Keefe, a compelling compilation of the author's most intriguing profiles from his tenure at the New Yorker magazine. Published in 2022, this collection explores the murky worlds of criminals and con artists, shedding light on their motivations and the societies that shape them. Patrick Radden Keefe, a seasoned journalist and acclaimed author of bestsellers such as Empire of Pain and Say Nothing, brings his investigative prowess to these stories, offering insights into the complexities of crime and justice. His work has earned him numerous accolades, and he was the host of the Winds of Change podcast, which was celebrated as the top podcast of 2020 by The Guardian. Rogues is an ideal read for aficionados of long-form journalism, individuals fascinated by the mechanics of crime, and readers interested in psychological drivers behind extraordinary behaviors. This book not only entertains but also provides a deep understanding of how past events shape the actions of notorious figures in our society. Join us as we unpack the lives of some of the most enigmatic figures in modern crime. Rogues, true stories of grifters, killers, rebels, and crooks. Introduction. Explore the minds of society's most enigmatic figures. In today's world where headlines flash and fade with breathtaking speed, the deeper stories often go untold. Yet behind every sensational news piece lies a complex human narrative waiting to be uncovered. Enter Patrick Radden Keefe, a seasoned journalist renowned for his ability to unravel the intricacies of some of the most puzzling and controversial personalities of our times. Through his book, Rogues, Keefe invites us on a fascinating journey into the lives of 12 remarkable figures whose stories he has meticulously chronicled throughout his career. In this episode, we narrow our focus to 4 riveting narratives, each shedding light on the profound ethical dilemmas and personal motivations that drive human behavior. Keefe's incisive questioning and storytelling prowess guide us through these layered tales, compelling us to consider how the narratives we absorb influence our perception of morality and choice. First up, we delve into the life of the infamous drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. His tale is one of cunning evasion and the sheer force of underworld power. But what allows a figure so notorious to dodge capture for decades? Keefe explores the blend of fear, loyalty, and systemic corruption that shielded El Chapo from the law's reach, providing an in-depth look at the mechanics of criminal enterprise and survival. Next, we examine the shocking transformation of Amy Bishop, an accomplished academic who inexplicably turned to mass murder. Through her story, Keefe addresses the volatile intersection of personal grievance and public tragedy, prompting us to question how deeply hidden vulnerabilities can abruptly manifest in devastating ways. Lastly, we consider the paradoxical world of whistleblowers, where one's actions can simultaneously brand them as criminal and hero. Keefe's exploration into the life of a whistleblower reveals the precarious balance between exposing truth and breaking the law, highlighting the intense scrutiny and moral ambiguity that these individuals face. By dissecting these compelling cases, Keefe not only provides us with a deeper understanding of the figures behind the headlines, but also challenges us to reflect on the ethical dimensions of the stories we tell and the judgments we pass. Join us as we peer behind the curtain of sensationalism and navigate the shadowy realms of morality, choice, and consequence in Patrick Radden Keefe's Rogues. Part 1. When family ties become the chains of conscience, imagine grappling with a dilemma where your deepest familial loyalties clash with your moral compass. This was the harrowing reality for Astrid Holleder, whose brother Willem, a notorious Dutch mobster, embodied both kinship and mortal peril. Her life story offers a stark vista into the complexities of loyalty, betrayal, and justice. Bound by blood and shared miseries, Astrid and Willem Holleder grew up under the tyranny of an abusive, alcoholic father. Their formative years were steeped in violence, crafting a bond fortified by survival against seemingly insurmountable odds. This bond was tested continuously as they navigated adult life. Astrid as a criminal lawyer, and Willem as an underworld kingpin implicated in kidnappings and murders. For years, Astrid stood by her brother, defending him in court, devising legal strategies, and even lying to police to cover his tracks. In her eyes, this was not merely familial duty, but a deep-seated allegiance to the only family she knew, her brother. However, the dynamics of their relationship fundamentally shifted when Willem sanctioned a ruthless act against their own blood. Astrid discovered that Willem had orchestrated a hit on their brother-in-law, Cor van Hout, sparking a cascade of tragic events. Cor's death not only marked him as a ruthless criminal, but also shattered the familial fabric that connected him to Astrid. It was a violation of trust so profound that it compelled Astrid to reconsider her loyalties. Driven by a newfound resolve, Astrid made the excruciating decision to betray Willem, turning him into the authorities and testifying against him in a series of high-stakes trials. This act of bravery came at a tremendous personal cost. Estranged from her brother and living under constant threat, Astrid now resides in a shadowy realm of safe houses and security measures, her life irrevocably altered. Her pivotal role in bringing her brother to justice underscores a poignant narrative where familial bonds are both a source of strength and immense vulnerability. Astrid Holleder's story is a testament to the moral fortitude it takes to stand against one's flesh and blood for the greater good. In the next tale, we pivot from the intimate betrayals of family to the grand machinations of a criminal mastermind whose sprawling network and cunning kept him just beyond the grip of law for decades. Join us as we uncover how another infamous figure managed to elude capture with the help of a loyal and complicit community. Part 2. The Downfall of El Chapo. From invincible kingpin to captured criminal. Welcome to a world where underground tunnels span miles, bathtubs reveal hidden rooms, and a network of loyal operatives communicate through untraceable channels. This isn't the setting of a spy novel. It was the reality for Joaquin Guzman Loera, better known as El Chapo, one of the globe's most formidable drug lords. But even the most cautious masterminds can falter, and it was El Chapo's unexpected slip in judgment that led to his dramatic downfall. As the head of the Sinaloa cartel, El Chapo oversaw a vast empire producing and distributing narcotics worldwide, with a significant stronghold on the U.S. drug market. His operations spread out across 50 countries, underscoring his reach and influence in the global underworld. Despite intense pursuits from law enforcement worldwide, El Chapo continually evaded capture, his slippery escapes aided by advanced warnings from high-level contacts and his deeply ingrained operational secrecy. El Chapo's life was starkly different from the ostentatious displays often seen from young narco-traffickers flaunting their riches on social media. Rather, he kept a low profile, avoiding public appearances since his last photograph was taken in 1993, leading to widespread speculation that he had altered his appearance through surgery. His strategic hideouts, nestled in the hills of Sinaloa, provided a bird's-eye view for his security teams who could spot threats from miles away, allowing El Chapo ample time to vanish undetected. Despite his notoriety and feared reputation, El Chapo was somewhat of a Robin Hood figure in Sinaloa. In an area marred by poverty and lacking in services, his drug wealth funded local infrastructure, shops, restaurants, and even medical emergencies, earning him the community's allegiance and protection. However, a shift occurred in 2012. El Chapo began to frequent cities such as Los Cabos and Culiacan more often, indulging in the urban lifestyle with dinners at upscale restaurants and evenings filled with entertainment. This change in behavior was attributed to multiple factors, including the influence of his young wife, Emma Coronel, and his own desire to enjoy the perks of his immense wealth. The once cautious drug lord was now venturing into the public eye, reveling in the lifestyle his empire afforded him. This proved to be a fatal mistake. U.S. and Mexican authorities, capitalizing on this breach in El Chapo's meticulous security, intercepted communications that eventually led them to his location. In a swift operation, Marines descended upon a hotel in Mazatlan, where El Chapo was staying with his family. Caught off guard and out of options, he surrendered without resistance. A stark contrast to the cunning, elusive narco figure he once was. El Chapo's capture was a significant victory for law enforcement, but also a stark reminder of the thin line that criminals walk between power and downfall. As we delve into our next story, we'll explore a different kind of criminal journey, that of Amy Bishop, a highly educated woman with no prior criminal record who inexplicably became a mass shooter. Her story further unravels the unpredictable paths leading to crime and the profound complexities of human behavior. Part 3. The Enigma of Amy Bishop. A scholarly facade masking a disturbed past. In the serene confines of an academic setting, the last place one might expect violence to erupt is at a staff meeting among learned colleagues. However, for Amy Bishop, a middle-aged neuroscientist at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, an underlying turmoil transcended the ordinary, culminating in a tragic shooting that left 3 of her colleagues dead. This act of violence baffled many, from her immediate family to the broader academic community, and the law enforcement officers tasked with unraveling her motives. Upon the surface, Bishop appeared to be a typical academic juggling the rigors of professional and domestic life. A mother of 4 and married, she seemed to have a stable life. Yet, underneath this facade lay a disturbing history and a psyche deeply scarred by past events which long evaded detection. The immediate theory that surfaced was professional grievance. Bishop had been denied tenure, a significant setback in her career marked by an unsatisfactory publication record and unpopular teaching evaluations. Such rejection could understandably breed resentment, but could it drive a person to murder? It seemed unlikely as a sole motivator, suggesting that deeper, more complex psychological elements were at play. The puzzle began to coalesce when details of Bishop's past emerged, casting a shadow over her present actions. It was revealed to the investigators that Bishop had once been involved in the death of her brother during her youth in Braintree, Massachusetts, a death previously ruled accidental. According to family accounts, a misfired gun during an attempt to unload it had tragically killed her brother. However, the circumstances were suspicious. Bishop had fled the scene and exhibited aggressive behavior when intercepted by police. This incident painted a picture of a potentially darker character, capable of violence, hidden beneath the scholar's exterior. More so, there were whispers of a cover-up by local authorities, possibly influenced by familial connections within the police force. This early episode suggested that the shooting at the University of Alabama might not have been an isolated outburst, but the escalation of a latent violent streak. Moreover, investigative journalist Patrick Radden Keefe uncovered another layer to this story, proposing that the real target of Bishop's aggression years ago might have been her father, not her brother. A heated argument with her father on the same day as the shooting hinted at deep-seated familial conflicts that might have driven her actions unintentionally toward her brother. As the profiles of many criminals reveal, unresolved traumas and concealed truths often ferment over time, leading to unforeseeable consequences. In Amy Bishop's case, her academic setbacks might have been the trigger, but it was the compounded weight of her unresolved past and psychological disturbances that constituted the bomb waiting to explode. Dubbed as a ticking time bomb, Bishop's story is a chilling reminder of the complex interplay between past traumas and precipitous actions. Our examination of crime now turns from the overtly violent to the covertly deceitful. In our final exploration, we delve into the high-stakes world of white-collar crime, where financial maneuvers behind corporate veils finance not just lifestyles, but also fuel far-reaching illicit activities. Witness the unraveling of a private banking world rocked by the revelations from a whistleblower who dared to pull the curtain back on systemic corruption. Part 4. Unveiling Shadows in Swiss Banking. The contentious tale of Hervé Falciani. In the secretive world of Swiss banking, privacy is not merely a policy, but a sacrosanct principle that has long cemented Switzerland's status as a fortress of financial discretion. This fortress, however, was breached spectacularly by Hervé Falciani, a figure who would come to either be seen as a crusading hero or a calculating villain, depending on one's perspective. Falciani's upbringing in a family of bankers, where glimpses of clients' cash-filled suitcases were not uncommon, seemingly predestined him for a career in finance. His journey began in Monaco at HSBC, where his adeptness with digital systems quickly made him an asset, particularly in enhancing banking security. It was this expertise that ushered him into Geneva's prestigious banking circles, but it was here that Falciani's narrative took a sharp turn. While working in Geneva, Falciani became increasingly alarmed by what he perceived as deeply unethical banking practices. He witnessed firsthand how the bank facilitated tactics for clients to obscure vast fortunes through opaque constructs like shell companies in Panama and paperless transactions, only confirmed face-to-face. Methods designed to cloak wealth from the probing eyes of tax authorities. Compelled by a mix of conscience and perhaps personal gain, Falciani made a move that would shake the foundations of international banking. He hacked into HSBC's systems, extracting data on over 100,000 accounts, which he subsequently took with him upon fleeing to France. Once on French soil, and under the threat of arrest following a Swiss extradition request, Falciani turned the tables by offering this data trove to the French authorities, positioning himself as a whistleblower, aiding in the crackdown on tax evasion. The narrative, however, is not without its contradictions and controversies. Reports surfaced that Falciani had attempted to sell the information in Beirut before approaching the French government, painting him less as a whistleblower and more as a rogue operative driven by profit. The Swiss branded him a criminal responsible for one of the most severe breaches of trust in banking history, while in France he was heralded as the Edward Snowden of banking, a defender against corrupt financial practices. Falciani's story morphs further into the realms of the surreal, with his claims of being targeted by international espionage, including a bizarre kidnapping attempt which he variously attributed to either Mossad agents or a staged ploy by anti-tax fraud associates. These wild fluctuations in Falciani's recounting cast doubts on his reliability, yet the impact of his actions remains indisputable. The aftermath saw governments worldwide tightening their scrutiny on tax evaders, with the United States enforcing laws necessitating foreign banks to report American account holders. HSBC itself faced a hefty $1.9 billion fine in 2012 for its money laundering practices. Though Falciani continues to reside in France under government protection, his controversial legacy persists, altering global perceptions of Swiss banking forever. Through the eye-opening saga of Hervé Falciani, we are reminded of the complex interplay of morality, legality, and individual motives that often lurks behind the curtain of high-stakes international finance. Final summary. In a landscape often dominated by tales of notorious individuals, one figure stands out not for the crimes she's committed, but for the lives she strives to save. Judy Clark, a distinguished criminal lawyer, represents what one might consider an anomaly in Patrick Radden Keefe's Rogues. Unlike the other individuals profiled, Clark dedicates her career to defending those society has labeled as the worst of the worst, individuals facing the death penalty for committing heinous crimes. Clark's approach to defense is deeply rooted in her belief in the inherent worth of every individual, regardless of their actions. Her strategy in the courtroom goes beyond mere legal defense. She endeavors to humanize her clients to the jury. By meticulously unraveling the complex tapestry of their lives, she presents her clients not as mere monsters, but as real humans who have made grave errors. This involves delving into their histories, understanding the sequences of choices and circumstances that led them to commit violent acts, and illustrating these findings compellingly in court. Her work is exhaustive and empathetic. She invests hundreds of hours in conversations, not only with the clients themselves, but also with everyone connected to them, piecing together narratives that offer insights into the why. Why might a seemingly ordinary individual commit an unthinkable crime? What series of events leads to such a drastic outcome? Clarke's goal is to shed light on these questions, providing juries with a fuller picture of the person behind the crime, which could sway them against capital punishment. Patrick Radden Keefe mirrors Clarke's depth of inquiry into his subjects. Like Clarke, Keefe isn't satisfied with surface-level explanations. His journalistic endeavors aim to capture the nuanced realities of individuals often hastily judged by society. Through his narrative, Keefe explores the gray areas of human behavior, the underlying motivations for their choices, and how they cope with the aftermath of their actions. In portraying both the notorious and the defender, Keefe invites readers to look beyond the act to the actor and to question the simplicity of labeling any individual purely as a rogue. His work, echoed by Clarke's defense strategies, challenges us to consider the broader implications of understanding the complexities inherent in every human story. Thank you for joining me today on this journey of learning and discovery as we explored the insights of another thought-provoking book in our growing library of knowledge. If you've enjoyed our time together, please take a moment to follow our podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and share 20-minute books with other knowledge seekers. Your support truly means a lot. Don't forget to join me again in the next episode, where we will delve into another enriching book. Until then, happy reading and happy listening.